from the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is live coverage of the 50th anniversary edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. It's Balloon Fiesta Live. And now, direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, here are your hosts, Glen Moyer and Lloyd Jr.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Thursday night. It's Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo at the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. You're watching Balloon Fiesta Live. I'm Glen Moyer. My cohort, Lloyd Jr., will be with us in a few moments. He's downstairs taking care of some administrative duties. So we are getting set for, hopefully, our first Glowdeo of the year, as we hope to get all our special shapes inflated. The weather has certainly turned a little bit nicer, though we are getting some breeze on the field this evening, but there is some blue sky mixed in with those gray clouds. So we've got fingers crossed that we'll get tonight's program in completely with all the special shapes. We have our drone show coming up and, of course, our Afterglow fireworks. We also have a jump tonight by Team Fast Tracks, their pyrotechnic jump. But earlier this afternoon, we were here to record live their 5 o'clock jump. It was a 7-man jump, or 7 skydiver jump. But they jumped in 2 groups of 3 with a trailing camera photographer. So a 4th trailing jumper. Anyway, let's go now to earlier this afternoon and see that jump from Team Fast Track, sponsored by Las Vegas, New Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. High overhead is the Team Fast Tracks jump plane as they are moving into position for this afternoon's 5 o'clock jump. They're going to be making 3 passes today. The first one will be at 2,000 feet, where they will drop a series of what we would call woodies, wind indicators. The team uses this to judge wind speed and direction for their coming jump. They may be turning onto that pass right now. That should be at about 2,000 feet. They're going to climb up to 7,000.
This should be the second pass, actually.
This is the second pass? Okay.
Yep, they already did the one with the wind indicators.
My bad, I missed that. I thought that looked higher than 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
So we have 7 total jumpers again today. 3 will exit on the first jump, then followed by another 3. First jumper is out. There's number 2. And number 3 just went out. There we go. And we have 3 good shoots.
These first 3 out, Mike Dirge, Kevin Dubas, and Matt Harvey. Mike and Kevin are going to form a 2-stack with their canopies before deploying a 500-square-foot flag. Matt will be following them with a 96-shot multicolored pyrotechnics, very similar to what we should be seeing at 7:30 tonight when the entire team jumps with fireworks.
Team Fast Tracks is a veteran-owned professional skydiving team based out of Middletown, Ohio. The team was formed in 2002 and has a roster of more than 40 active members with more than 200,000 skydives. Team Fast Tracks performs exhibition skydives all over the world for audiences large and small. Each year, the team will perform more than 300 shows at 250-plus venues, including NASCAR, IndyCar, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, the NFL, the NCAA, football, and major air shows, plus the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
And Team Fast Track presented by the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico. A great place to visit while you're in the state.
Right now the team is in a 2-stack high over the museum to the south of the field, with the 3rd member trailing them. They have deployed that, what is that, a 500 square foot flag on this first jump?
Yeah, that's the baby flag.
The baby flag, yes.
Our next pass coming overhead. Looks like 1, 2, 3 more jumpers in the air.
The second team exiting just over our rooftop studio this afternoon.
This trio is Larry Compton, Dimitri Dadik, and John Foreman. Larry's going to be jumping a 5,000 square foot American flag. He'll be flanked by John Foreman with the red, white, and blue drop-down smoke, and Dimitri with our live feed system and a 150-foot long red, white, and blue streamer. So 2 groups of 3. And there is the 5,000 square feet of Liberty being flown by Larry Compton.
The original team now just up over the south entrance to Balloon Fiesta Park. Still in a 2-man stack with the third jumper high above and trailing. They're parallel right now, parallel to corporate row, just about to pass right over the top of us on our rooftop studio.
And turning it over the field.
Yep, turning.
Okay.
Actually,
all around.
Yeah, just turning it,
Just
doing almost
that.
a 180. Slowly turning base and then finals to get down to the LZ out on the balloon field. Will be interesting to see if they land the stack or if they break it apart at the last moment. Team leader was telling us the other morning that they sometimes do land. They do that. They did a 4-diamond stack earlier, and they sometimes will land that stack. There go the fireworks off the trailing jumper of the number 1 team. You can see the colored smoke in the sky. These are shot through packs that they wear on their lower legs and strapped around the calves.
35 pounds pack on each leg.
Each leg, yeah. World War II historians will remember how our airborne troops there carried similar packs on their legs when they jumped into Normandy, weighing a great deal more than 35 pounds, if I remember correctly. There's jumper number 1 down safely. And number two is down. Meanwhile, the second team have deployed that red, white, and blue trailing smoke. And here comes jumper number 3 from the first team.
That would be Matt Harvey. You can see those packs on his leg as he came in.
Yes.
Yeah. That's also part of the reason they kind of slide in when they come
rather
in
than trying to stand up and land, right. The jump plane continuing to circle field high overhead. That's what, is that a Cessna 208, I believe?
Yes, Cessna 208, right. We should also mention they are ground specialist this entire event, Sam Deeds. And we continue to watch the 5,000 square foot of freedom with the smoke. And there is a live helmet cam up there as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were direct your attention to the sky and our American flag, we honor America with our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Fast Tracks. Team Fast Track brought to us by the City of Las Vegas, New Mexico.
That's
we got
right.
the timing down on that one even.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You know, we're better than we think we are.
Yeah,
that's hard to do.
Yeah. Las Vegas, a great place to visit here in New Mexico. And the home of lots of historical places. A number of movies have been made there.
Several film sets up there.
Yeah, there's a couple of colleges up there as well. So if you get an opportunity to come to New Mexico, please take a time and put Las Vegas, New Mexico on your travel list.
I'll do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening and welcome. It's the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We are powered by ExxonMobil, and you are listening live and watching live, depending on whether you're on the Balloon Fiesta field or watching our online stream. This is Balloon Fiesta Live, again, powered by ExxonMobil. I'm Glen Moyer, and joined, as always, by my cohort, Art Lloyd Jr., and for those people watching on the big video screen or who are watching our feed, the number one not good sign is there is no backdrop. It has gotten windy in the last, 30 minutes perhaps? I mean, we broke for dinner and things looked great, and then all of a sudden, and it's all due, well, you can see there on the feed, it's due to some storm activity that's 2 hours south.
Quite a ways,
actually. In fact, early this morning, we heard Brad Tiemeyer say if we got rain this evening, this afternoon, tonight, it would be really south of I-40. That's 5-6 miles away from us.
Yeah.
But it's kicking outflow winds, and that's what's caused the windy conditions here on the field. So we are under a yellow flag, and we are on hold, which is a story that we have told before here this week.
It has, and our Glowdeo pilots had a briefing even at 5:30, so just 45 minutes ago, and they gave them a weather update, just like you said, 30 minutes ago. Things were looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this has kicked up. So yellow, we're on hold. We're going to see what happens here. Hopefully that will kind of move out, dissipate. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep you up to date as we go through the evening, as we hope to get our first Glowdeo underway for the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah, this would be the first glow of any sort that we've been able to pull off, if we're able to pull it off. And, of course, all of the other activities. There's the pyrotechnic jump by Team Fast Tracks later tonight. Then there's the drone show that everyone is just simply raving about. And then, the afterglow fireworks. So a lot of things on tap for this evening, if we can pull it all off.
That drone show, goes off at 5:45 on Saturday and Sunday mornings here at Balloon Fiesta,
right?
Which is before we come on the air.
Right, so we don't show it on the weekends.
Exactly. We are able to show it, though, at 7:45 on our 5 evening events, tonight being one of those.
Yes.
However, we recorded it one of the mornings last weekend.
Well, aren't we clever?
We were pretty, And, I went back and forth. Bottom line, it's now
available for you to go watch all by itself.
Oh, so we've posted it.
I've posted the video.
Okay.
If you go to balloonfiesta.com and you click on the this year and go down to the Balloon Fiesta Live page, it's now listed as a bonus video in among all the shows we've already done and the link of all the shows yet to come.
Okay, outstanding.
I have to tell you this story, though. Obviously, there is great demand to watch this video. You upload the video, and if you're familiar at all with YouTube, when you upload a video, once it processes, it's live and it's available for people to see. You can still edit things like the title, the description, the thumbnail that shows up. So I uploaded the video, and I'm working on the description, tweaking a couple of things, and I went and made a different thumbnail. I wasn't happy with the original one that went up there. In the 10 minutes or so that it took me to get that, 28 people had already started watching it, and I checked an hour later, and it was 156 people had already found that drone video up there. And we'll go look here again, but it's going to go through the roof. You will see it live tonight right here on Balloon Fiesta Live. But if you wanted to check it out, you can go ahead and go click on Balloon Fiesta Live and get the bonus video and get an advance sneak preview of the entire show. It's not even a trailer.
Well, and a mea culpa with regard to that, you produced the audio track for that show,
yes,
and it's spectacular. And, you and I were chatting when you were in Plano last week, Plano, Texas, and you mentioned that people thought they heard me there when it was you doing all the PA announcing. Well, my cousins who were here over the weekend videoed some of that show and posted on Facebook.
A number of people did that.
And but my cousins, pointed out that was me doing the audio, and my little sister jumped on and said, "Yeah, that's my Big Bubba." And I didn't correct them, but mea culpa.
It's okay.
I have not claimed to be the voice of the drone show. That is Art Lloyd Jr., but some of my family think, and I'm just pointing that out because people sometimes think we sound amazingly alike.
We do.
And, so I take it as a compliment that they thought that was me on the audio track, but it was Art Lloyd Jr. who does the audio for the drone show, just to set the record straight.
Well, and that's kind of what I was kind of like. I've had the video, and I've kind of thought about whether I should post the video or not, and, because we want people to come out to the field and see it, or tune into the show and see it from there. But I started seeing all of these versions posted to Facebook and YouTube and things. And, it's a handheld camera. Who knows whether they're really – people are not getting the full effect of the drone show.
No.
And even with our video that it was recorded by our Crack Windfire production team, the same people who are helping us put Balloon Fiesta Live on, even that, it's great, but it's not the wow of being here. So I'd still encourage you to come out and see it.
Sure, and it's the 3D effect of the show that really is the wow factor that you have to be here on the field to see. You really don't get that no matter how good the video is of the program, because I know I was up here on the rooftop watching it, saw it the first morning it premiered when it was still a top secret program, and then that evening we saw it again last Saturday evening. And I didn't realize that the big balloon that is formed in part of the show was three-dimensional until I was sitting up here, and it rotated, and I went, "Oh my gosh!" It's not just a flat balloon image; it's three-dimensional round, like a hot air balloon, including the basket, and the whole thing rotated in the sky, and I just went, "Whoa!" So the show will blow you away. I promise you that. I think it's exceeded everyone's expectations. And you definitely want to see it. And if you can see it live here on the field, that's the best way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we will be seeing that again tonight at 7:45.
Right.
By the way, we are planning to talk with the folks of the drone show probably on Saturday morning.
Okay.
About the time. So they'll do that show at 5:45. We come on the air at 6, and we'll go out there live and chat with them after that as well. We'll give you an opportunity to see kind of what it takes, what 300 drones look like, what one of those 300
how many
looks
there
like.
are, 300?
There are 300 drones in the show, and we'll talk to some of the folks with Verge Aero, who is the folks that actually produced that show, did all the work to put that together.
Well, I know I've seen several people asking in our Facebook chat, and even our PA Gary was saying, it'd be great if they would do a behind-the-scenes video that we could show that explains the technology of how all of that is capable. So maybe that's something we can get done and drop in next year.
As well, yeah, we'll get the get them to explain some of that on Saturday, because not only do we have a couple of their chief pilots out here, but the CEO of the company is going to be here this weekend too. So we'll be able to get the true insight behind how all of this works together, and we'll be doing that on Saturday morning. At least that's our tentative schedule at this point.
Well, it is a brilliant show. Hats off to the team that produced that, and including yourself. And yeah, if you can see it live, it's worth hanging out here at the field to see it. It definitely is. It's a great addition. First time here at Balloon Fiesta, and boy, is it a nice addition to our.
So some of our teams are flying their tarp.
They're flying their tarps, yeah.
Yeah.
That one needs a patch, as a matter of
fact. That one got caught on something.
It's got a maybe that's a wind release. I don't know.
But you know, that's exactly why we put tarps down, so that when you catch it on something, you rip the tarp as opposed to the balloon.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So. Our game plan was we've made arrangements to get an inside tour of Speedy Bird, the Roadrunner head.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of where they are down there, and obviously playing with the tarp at this point versus the envelope. You can see the flags standing out straight.
Yeah, it's what we sometimes refer to as being starched.
Yeah.
So there is even if you take a look at the yellow flag, I mean, it's almost like it's being blown off the flagpole over there.
Yep.
It's under a lot of stress. So there is some significant wind.
Feels like it's trying to change direction.
Well, I was
already.
just going to say, it feels like, before we took the backdrop down because it was coming from the south, and we were concerned it would blow over on you and I. But now it almost feels, and if you look at the yellow flag, it looks more like it's turned to the west and is blowing across the field, west to east. And look at all the flags along the western road there.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're pointing down toward the river, so it does look like the wind has shifted.
And even
the
kite that's
Doug
flying.
Gant's kite, yeah.
So the
even
direction,
it has turned around. So maybe that's a good sign. Although, is that a little bit of light rain I see around the Sandias, or is that just fog that's forming?
I can't quite see for the building. So
okay, well, if you look around the corner, the upper half of the mountains looks a little different gray, a lighter gray.
Yeah, some clouds coming down on the top over there.
Not sure if that's clouds forming
we'll have to see.
Maybe a little light virga.
Hard to believe that we are already on day 6, end of the day.
I've lost count. I just know we're getting close to the end already.
Well, if it weren't for the little app here that says today is the 6th, and this year we can say, if it's the 6th, it's the 6th day.
That's true, because we started October the 1st, so it's easy to keep track of. I've already jumped. I was being optimistic, so I've already got my spotter set up on the Special Shapes list. And, because I was optimistic when we broke for dinner about 5.
Everything looked great. I was down there.
Looked great.
I was down there talking with some friends of mine.
Yeah, you were down. I said you were down taking care of some administrative duties. Actually, you were down there. Well, no, you were down there hamming it up with your friends and taking selfies. That's what you were doing. Come on.
Those are other duties as required.
Okay. Yeah. That's what that line in the contract says, other duties as required.
That's what that means. That's exactly what it means.
Okay, I'm gonna use that, trust me.
Yeah.
I'm filing that away for future reference.
Anyway, where I was going with that is that, the work on Balloon Fiesta number 51, 2023 is already underway. So much so that we have a theme.
Is this where you're going?
This is where I'm going.
All right.
We have a theme for next year, and the official bumper stickers are now out.
Yes.
So you can get one of these before you leave, because they are at all of our different sites. The information booths have them. Our merchandise places have them. If you're here at Sponsor Hospitality, we have them. They have them all around the field where you can pick up the new bumper sticker. There it is. A view from above, October 7th through the 15th. So it's 367 days away. Or 66 days away.
And that will be the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta number 51. So, so many of us that have been doing this for years have been pointing to the 50th. This was kind of like our big moment. But Fiesta goes on. This is, for some people, it's their first Fiesta, and in a lot of ways, it's just a blip on the radar although a pretty significant blip. I will give you that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, but yes, Fiesta will go on. And as you say, planning will be underway for it. Well, planning is already underway. And
well, just to give you an idea, the jackets that you and I wear, as all of our pilots and our navigators wear, those get ordered in December.
Oh, my gosh.
Which means design takes place in November. And remember, this doesn't end until mid-October.
That's right.
So 2 weeks after we're done, we're already at work on a design for next year to get the jackets ordered so that we can have them made in time to get here, have the extra embroidery and all that kind of stuff as we move forward.
Well, and even some of that, for example, our Balloon Fiesta Live logos that are on our jackets doesn't get done until the jackets are delivered to Fiesta.
Actually delivered, right.
And then they're done locally here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a big project, huge project. And so that's one of the first things that comes in. Then we get working on, I mean, obviously we already have a theme. We'll start working on the actual logo for the event to incorporate the view from above and start working on pins because those have to be made. We made 107 special shaped pins this year on top of the nearly 100 pins that got made for sale for other groups. Our announcer pins, our Balloon Fiesta Live pins. The Balloon Meister has a pin. The
safety
two assistant
team has
ones.
a pin.
Yeah. So
launch directors.
There are more than 200 varieties of pins. This year there was about 6 different number 50 pins made.
Right.
And we actually had to go back and make some more because the first batch sold out before we ever even got to Balloon Fiesta.
Well, and that's because we've begun now using, balloonfiestastuff.com to put a lot of the merchandise for each year's event. It debuts not here at Fiesta, but it usually debuts online weeks in advance so that people can order their T-shirts, their pins, whatever it is they might be looking for, in advance. And even now, thanks to that, people who know they will not be able to attend, I know a lot of balloonists who knew they were not going to be able to make it or attend the 50th, but they were able to order 50th merchandise online through balloonfiestastuff.com.
So we have taken our merchandise efforts worldwide. Where it used to be, we had a physical gift shop here. You pretty much had to be in Albuquerque to be able to get into that stuff. You're right. Now it's available worldwide. People are figuring that out, and the sales have been great. And so it's a whole nother outlet. In fact, it got so busy at the beginning of this week that we actually had to temporarily shut down balloonfiestastuff.com.
Wow.
So because we just didn't have the staff to handle all the tents here, all the gift shop and the online things we were starting to, it was just starting to get too much. So we shut that one down. Now, but the good news is that once we finish up on Sunday, we will spend Monday and Tuesday regrouping, taking everything that's left here from the field, recounting, just collating it all back together, and starting on Wednesday after Balloon Fiesta, all of that merchandise will go back on balloonfiestastuff.com. The store will come back online on Wednesday, and so watch for all of this merchandise to go back on sale online on Wednesday. So if per chance you didn't get here or you didn't get a chance to shop,
you got here and didn't get what you were looking for, you forgot, whatever,
you
might find it on balloonfiestastuff.com beginning Wednesday.
And we might even have a special announcement at the end of the week. There was some text stuff going back and forth last night. So we're working on kind of a special deal that we'll hopefully be able to announce on Sunday, and then you'll be able to partake of on Wednesday. So balloonfiestastuff.com. While you're there, I would encourage you to sign up for our weekly email. It's called What's Up Wednesday. And you talked about that's where the stuff is debuted and released first. That is exactly where it comes. And subscribers to What's Up Wednesday from balloonfiestastuff.com will be the first people to know about it. Things like the calendar. The calendar for the following year is released in July. So if you wait till October, you're already 3 or 4 months after the calendar has been released. Now, there's plenty of calendars left. If you're in town, you can check out the gift shop or the tents here, or heck, even go by Costco. They still have lots of them as well. But the calendars come out in July. The official poster comes out in late July, in early August. Our pins start coming out in August. So that's really 2 months in advance of the event.
Right, of the event, sure.
So, yeah, subscribe to What's Up Wednesday at balloonfiestastuff.com and be the first to know about all of the great things that we are putting online. And then while we'd love to have you here, you'll be able to be dressed when you get here.
Right. At least you can either be dressed, have the apparel and the souvenirs you want before you arrive, or if you can't attend, you'll be able to get some of that. Some of the questions on our feeds sometimes confuse me, and this one does. Seth House says, are you going to show a lot of the stuff that got canceled through all the events on your website and YouTube? Well, Seth, if the events were canceled, how can we show it? See, I'm not sure I'm following you there. You know, when a glow or a flight gets canceled, there's nothing for us to show. Our programs are archived, and we are on the air at every event. So, yes, you can watch it, and you'll see us talking, as we are now, about Fiesta stuff and what all's going on the field and describing the weather and what's happening in the eventual decision. But we can't show a glow that didn't happen, although there will be. You know, this program tonight will be archived and will be on the website. So if you want to go back and see it later, then you can. But if the glow doesn't happen, we can't show it. We won't show a glow on the feed because it didn't happen.
But we did Glowdeos a year ago, and those videos are available as well.
That's right. Yes, they are.
So you can, even if we aren't able to do something, you can always back up a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because this is year number 6.
That's right.
So you can go back and watch any of those, as well as the other videos that are on our YouTube page as well.
Yeah.
Because as I was telling you last night, or whenever it was, must have been this morning.
I think it was
this morning we talked about this.
Yeah.
The calendars that we have video embedded in each of them.
And you've taken the videos out of the past calendars
and have posted
them as additional bonus videos.
And I post a new one every month.
Yeah.
So on the 1st, there's a new one. So subscribing to our YouTube channel and, of course, liking our Facebook page, definitely ways to stay in touch with Balloon Fiesta all year long. We do more things throughout the year, not just these 9 days.
Right, and you can even go back and watch the Balloon Fiesta Siesta, which was the non-event program that we did in 2020, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
And when Art was in a studio here in Albuquerque, I was in my home office studio in Louisiana, and we ran video highlights of past fiestas, but we also were able to pull together a balloon glow during the middle of that non-fiesta or Fiesta Siesta.
Right.
With just, there was a small group of balloonists here in Albuquerque that went out one evening.
We're going to glow.
Put on a glow, and we were able to get that done live, do an all burn even on our show. Technology is wonderful. And of course, if you watch enough of that particular year, the Fiesta Siesta, you'll get to meet my cat Ranger, because he became a regular on Balloon Fiesta Live that year, since I was working from home.
In addition to the glows, we got live video or recorded video from around the world. We had stuff from over in Europe.
Right.
We had people flying in Albuquerque. We had people flying in Montana.
I think we had a live flight with Tristan one morning, if I remember right.
Yes, we got with Tristan from the field here one day, because it was just that we couldn't bring all the people together.
Right.
Too many businesses, too many things were closed. We needed to have those kinds of things.
Social distancing was in place, even for outdoor events were limited to the number of people you could have. So that was the reason why this is the 50th anniversary and the 50th event that we talked about earlier.
Let's
don't do that again, because I got confused. I will say, those of you at the north and eastern edges of the field, I do look out and you can see Artsum Virga, which is usually light rain that's falling out of clouds and doesn't always hit the ground. But it looks kind of like it's about Tram Road. I don't know that it's made it into the field yet, but see out of this cloud here, and there's some more strands of it right along here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah. I get the lights shield.
Yeah, if you block out the lights, you can see it a little better.
Yep.
So
that's probably even farther out than
it may be even further away.
Because those cars you can see, I know they can't quite. well, they can see them in the feed. Those
Yeah.
the cars going by is Tramway, or on this side of the freeway, it's called Roy Road.
And it looks like it's beyond there.
It's definitely
so,
on the other side of that. Yeah,
but you can see
it
the
on
little light gray streaks
streaks.
from the cloud base down to the ground. That's light rain that's falling, and it's usually called virga, typically because it does fall out of the clouds, but it very seldom actually reaches the ground before it evaporates. But just pointing that out in case it comes in any closer and folks down at that end of the field maybe start to feel a sprinkle or two.
So Omar says, thanks for uploading the drone show to YouTube. You're welcome, Omar. Glad you like it. Glassman says he's a newbie pin collector. Well, you got a lot of pins to collect, Mr. Glassman.
Boy, I'm telling you.
And you know, Saturday, 2 days from now, at 11 o'clock at the Group Tours tent, which is out on the northeast corner of the field, it will be our second pin trading day.
That's right.
Of Balloon Fiesta. And you know, speaking of pins, we make a pin just for pin trading day.
Yes, you can get a pin trading day pin.
That is probably one of the best pins, other than our announcer pins at Balloon Fiesta Live.
Yeah.
One of the best pins we made this year, I think.
Hey, you may know this. I don't know the answer to it, but Tanya Renee is asking, were they able to reschedule the remote control balloons exhibition? You know, yesterday was when we were hoping to set a world record with our mini-me's, as I've been lovingly calling them, the remote control or model balloons. We've got just over, I think, 84, 85 registered, and we're hoping to inflate them and set a world record for that. Has that been rescheduled? Is there a fallback date for that? Do you know?
So I've not heard an official fallback or an official reschedule.
Okay.
But as you know, when we lose an event or something like that happens, we work very hard to schedule it in as soon as we can.
Right, bring it back.
Moving through the day.
Yeah.
This morning, there were a half a dozen so remote control balloons out there. They're here. They want to fly their remote control balloons.
Absolutely.
They want to go for that record. So I believe that if the weather is conducive for that tomorrow morning, we will make that attempt tomorrow morning.
Okay, so tune in to Balloon Fiesta Live. That would be the way to find out.
Just as when we had a lot of competition tasks going on out there this morning.
Did we? Serious and some not so serious. A little bit of throwback to the early days here at Balloon, when competition wasn't really competition. It was just kind of.
It was just something
fun to do.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. So I think we had the extra task thrown in there today because we lost one on Monday. So we're gonna continue to work all these activities in as if something happens and we don't get them, like the remote control record, we'll pick that up on another morning.
Okay.
We still have a number of those, and should be some good mornings to get that in.
Yeah, and speaking of this morning, congratulations to our friend Tomas Hora, who was the only pilot.
There was a second.
Well, there was a second.
He was the only one on his pole, and there was another one on the other pole.
All right, my bad. I did not know that. But Tomas Hora was able to ring a pole, and he was the only one on that pole, so that was good for $2,000. So the other pilot was obviously the only one on his pole, his or her pole as well.
So he got $2,000.
So he gets $2,000. All right.
Yep. So we had in addition to the 5 poles that were out there, and as you mentioned, 2 pilots managed to ring their poles and win $2,000. We had what in balloon competition is a maximum double drop. There are 2 designated scoring areas that you have to drop a marker in each one, and it is the farthest distance
the target from this morning.
the
For those
X.
of you on the feed, or if you're on the field, look up at the big video screen at the main stage.
Those areas are typically triangles.
Yes.
But our scoring team and our officials decided to make the scoring area the 50. So the 5 was one scoring area, the 0 was another scoring area, and they measured the maximum distance away from the center of that X for that target.
Right.
For that task, I should say. Because the X was its
own target,
task.
where you typically, and that it's a typical ballooning competition,
Yes.
is to just throw a marker and get it as close to the center of the X as you can. So that X was a target all by itself. The 50 was, as you said, a max distance double drop, and the best possible score would have been right up at the far corner of the top of the 5.
Yeah, the upper left of the 5.
Upper left 5, and then the lower right corner of the 0. that would have been, because the object was to have a marker in the 5 and in the 0, but as far apart as possible. And so those 2 points would have been the maximum score you could get.
Those stars are where the poles were, but then the fun deal was the red and white bullseye target. You see it in much bigger detail on the left. And
there.
You see where it was over there, kind of between the 5 and the 0, with the coyote splat in the center of the bullseye. And we gave them a marker, but the marker was enclosed in a box that was marked as the Acme Anvil Corporation.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea was, put that back up one more real quick there again, guys, just for a second. So what was happening this morning is you would kind of come in from the upper right of this picture. Most of them did, and they would come
because
somewhere along
the picture was actually, it would flip it 180 degrees to its orientation to where
North
we
is
are.
South. North is south
yes.
is on this picture.
Right.
So what they did is they came in basically somewhat around or over the bullseye, and they would throw the anvil box there, try and wrap up, because they couldn't, obviously those are kind of far apart.
Yeah, that's a roadway between them there.
You had to throw to get over to the 5, and then pretty much you could kind of drop on the X or drop on the O. But on one of those, depending on where you were, you really had to wind it up and get a really good throw there. But a number of pilots managed to get on the 5, the 0, the bullseye, and the X.
Yeah.
So 4 of 5, if you count rings, the rings being the 5th.
Right.
And then, like Tomas said, I didn't try for anything except the rings.
Right. He just went for the, I think he was out of
the cash.
He was out of it in the competition on Monday and just said, I'm just going to go for a pole, and he went for it and got it. So
and he got it. Well, because consistency, all these markers that got dropped contribute to the overall competition, which started on Tuesday. So we got these all come into the overall. We've got one more day of competition tomorrow morning, and so if you can score in all 3 of those, then you're in great shape.
Yeah.
Tomas says, I was out of it on
he was out
the
of it
first
on
day,
Tuesday, so
not going to get in it now. I'm going to go for the money.
Go get some money, and he got it.
And he got it.
Kudos
That's exactly
to him.
right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't have to win every task in a ballooning competition. You just want to score, because it's a cumulative thing.
Exactly.
And so as long as you score on every task, then you have a great shot of being in the money toward the end. Now, you may not be the champion because you want to score and score well.
Yes.
Like we saw poor Zarek Wells, our defending champion. He went for the high risk, high reward when we did the competition on Tuesday with the Sid Cutter Memorial, and he came by. He worked the wind like nobody's business, got down, had a great throw, threw his marker to the boat, on the bow of the boat, but it hit a little too much impetus. It hit and bounced off. Whereas Mark Sullivan and one other pilot went for the slightly safer throw and put their marker in the boat. On the bow is the better score. And so Zarek was going for, he was going for the gold or going for the brass ring and just didn't get it. But Mark Sullivan, here's a little bit on our feed, as a matter of fact, some of the video from that competition.
This is these are the highlights of the scores coming in. So that's Mark Fritzy, who threw in the boat. He was the first one through.
With the unfurled marker.
And so we'll just talk over this one. You don't need to leave the audio go, guys. So the idea behind that is his marker was not unfurled.
Right. It should be one long streamer, not just a big blob.
That is a rule violation. He was penalized.
He was
50
eventually
points.
penalized. Okay.
50 points. It moved him from what would have been second down into, I think, 10th.
And here's Zarek,
Yep.
the defending Fiesta champion, who has really been is coming on as quite a young competitor. And so he's going to go for the brass ring. He's going to get that marker on the boat. Watch this.
Hits the end and
bounces off. And that's a 300-point penalty, as I recall, because it ended up in the water.
Additional distance,
300, not a penalty, but an additional distance.
Right.
I'm sorry.
They add the distance of 300 to that as well. There is some speculation that he might have actually been trying to get in the boat and overthrew it. Or he threw the other one. And here comes Mark Sullivan. So when we could tell from this point already, he had a nice perfect line, nice level flight coming in. You see the marker is unfurled. Now what he does is he wads it all up so it doesn't get caught in the crown line.
But you see it unfurls as he throws it.
Yep.
And it's in the boat. And while part of it is hanging over, that's the tail of the marker. But the important thing is that you're describing
I'm about
there.
to describe it there. We're about to see it.
Yeah.
There's the tail.
Hanging over, but the weighted part of the marker, which is what is measured, is inside the boat and closer to the bow than
the other one.
The other one.
By
That's
about
right.
10 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there had not been a penalty, then it would have been first and second, but because of the penalty, Mark Fritzie got pushed down a little bit in the scores.
Okay.
Now, this was Joe Zavada who came in towards the very end, like in the last probably 2 minutes of the competition.
Yeah, just right before
and
the
so we're watching
window
him
closed.
come in, and on the right, this is the GoPro video that he was recording, and you see he drops just outside. If he had been a half a revolution or a second later, he probably would have been in the boat as well.
Yeah.
But highlights from Tuesdays. Yeah.
As we said, it's a high risk, high reward. If you get it, there's a great reward. And, of course, that is a task that's scored individually. And then each year at our awards banquet, which will be on Saturday, Jewel Cutter, Sid's wife, she will present the task winner with a special commemorative plate as a trophy that includes a picture of their balloon. And so this year, Mark Sullivan, who is often on hand to assist Jewel in that presentation, this year the presentation will be made to Mark. So congratulations to Mark Sullivan. And we are beginning to get some sprinkling here on the tower, on the rooftop studio, just so you know.
That's what I was just
and that's
noticing here as I was checking on my looking on the feed here.
I'm seeing the sprinkles on the screensaver of my iPhone, and that's the reason why I opted for the jacket tonight as opposed to the fleece, not because it's that cold. The jacket
will repel
sheds the water a little bit better, which we learned for real yesterday morning when you and I were both soaked by the time we got through here.
I debated. The outer jacket is in the car, and I debated back and forth. But as we've talked about already, earlier today, even just when we got here at 4 o'clock, 4:30, things were looking up.
The weather looked really good. We had blue sky and we had light winds. It really, really looked positive. I thought we were going to pull tonight off, but I remembered Brad talking about the possibility of some late showers, and looked around and saw a little bit of clouds, and so I opted for the jacket purely because I knew that it would deflect the water just a little bit better. It's not waterproof by any means. But
it does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it kept us dry the other morning, and yesterday we were literally soaked by the time we were able to break down the set and get off. In fact, we were just about to move our set from where we are on the edge of the rooftop back to the half roof that is here and get out of the rain, because it was raining significantly by then, and it was just as we were about to sign off that they came up, the officials, and told us that they were scrubbing the event.
Yep.
So, but by then we were soaked pretty well through and through.
So I notice our conclave of officials is actually inside next
door again.
They were out here a few minutes ago watching what was developing behind us, and it seems like it might be going over us or around us. It's not nearly
as dark and gray
as it was 15 or 20 minutes
maybe
ago.
What we're feeling is a little bit of rain from that as it moves over us, perhaps. Although when the officials take their radios away off the set, maybe that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So, and someone asked earlier on the Facebook feed, will the drone show go forward even if they put up the red flag for the Glowdeo tonight? And that will depend really on what the winds are doing, I think. They have their own limitations as to.
They do, as do the fireworks.
As does Team Fast Tracks. Each of those different events has their own wind limitations within which they can operate, their own safety margin, if you will. And honestly, I'm not sure what those are, but those teams make their own call in conjunction with our officials as to whether or not it will go forward. So at this point, I would say my hope is clearly that even if we don't get the Glowdeo, the drone show and the fireworks might well go on as scheduled at 7:45. But we'll find out.
Part of the entire decision-making process that goes on is exactly that. Okay, if we do this, then what do we do with the next event or the next activity all the way down the line? How do we deal with those? And so even if they said, we're going to have to do something about this one, can we move the others up? Can they still go? So it's kind of how do we reschedule the rest of the session?
Exactly, and that also has to take into effect the developing weather, because you can make a decision on the Glowdeo with the weather now at, say, 6:50, but that doesn't tell you what the weather's going to be at 7:45, and that's probably, to our chagrin sometimes, part of the reason why we are left here talking to folks about what's happening, because they're looking at, all right, we know what the weather is now, but we're still almost an hour away from when the drone show would
It's
go.
scheduled to start, right?
And we don't know what the weather's going to be then, and so you don't want to pull the plug early and then find out the conditions would have been such that you could have done the program. So a lot of times it's a step-by-step process. Okay, we've gotten to the time for the Glowdeo. We can't do that. We pull the plug on that. But the drone show, the fireworks, team fast tracks, all those things sometimes are still go at that point until we get further into the evening and the weather. I think maybe one of our officials has some word for us. I'll let you chat with them. While we are, at least for precautionary purposes, obviously tarping our cameras here on set, to keep that equipment as safe as possible and out of the light rain that is falling now here on the field. You can see people scattering out around the balloon field, although, nobody's in a real rush to go anywhere. It's not like there's a downpour by any means. There's just a very light sprinkle falling down. Team Fast Tracks has already covered their live feed camera that we use here, so draw from that what you will.
Okay, so I did just get the word from one of our assistant balloon meisters,
Okay.
Peg Wilson. So we have canceled the glow for tonight.
Okay.
And so we will not be setting balloons up and attempting to have our special shapes stand up as part of the Glowdeo.
All right.
The drone folks, first off, Fast Tracks has scrubbed their 7:30.
Their 7:30 pyrotechnic jump. Okay.
As we kind of expected. Again, they have wind limitations that aren't much higher than the balloons.
Right.
And they're certainly not going to be jumping in any kind of storm and high winds as well. So no Fast Tracks pyrotechnic jump tonight. And then the drone show is still a go at 7:45. And they're double checking with the fireworks, but they believe the fireworks will also still be a glow at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
We may see those move up. We may not. So, but no glow tonight, no 7:30 Fast Tracks jump, but we are still a go for the drones and for the fireworks at this point.
All right. Well, the rain is certainly getting stronger at the moment. Who makes the call on whether we move underneath the roof?
I guess that would be me. And I'm thinking it's time to start making that move.
I would suggest maybe we do that if we're going to continue on air until we get a final word on the drone show, probably, rather than perhaps sitting here in the rain for another hour waiting to find out. And that would also allow them to cover up all of our electronic microphones.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to unfortunately say good night to the folks on the stream.
Okay.
And we're going to let them go and go watch the drone show video that I already put up. And if you'd like to watch the fireworks, you can go back a couple of nights and watch those as well.
Okay.
So we're going to shut down our feed, and we'll see those of you who are watching online tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. For those of you here on the field, we're going to continue to kind of hang with you through the drone show and the fireworks until we know something more about that.
We'll do that over the public address system here at Balloon Fiesta Park. All right, so we'll shut down the feed, unfortunately. So those of you watching online, we're scrubbing the entire evening as far as you're concerned.
Right, so let's take 15 seconds and let's officially close the stream with our music, and we'll be right back for those of you here on the field.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. Want more balloon action? Visit the archive of all the Balloon Fiesta Live broadcasts at balloonfiesta.com. And make plans to join us in person for number 51, October 7th through the 15th, 2023. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live. This program is a production of AIBF Inc.